There's so much to like about this film. The story, the technical department. There's something new and refreshing about it. But some of the outdated execution does a big disservice to the film. Let's talk about it. Hello guys, I'm Nona Prince and today we're talking about the Kannada film Vikrant Rona. Now I couldn't catch this film in theaters because, subtitles were not available. That's what the theaters told me. And the Hindi dub didn't release near me. So I definitely missed the big experience of the film that was promised, the 3D part of it. And I could tell looking at the visuals that the 3D was done well. Because for a good 3D, you need elements in the foreground and the background so that you can create a depth. And there were a lot of unique shots created that will look amazing in 3D. And let's talk about it. The set designs, the costumes, the cinematography. There was a small full CG sequence which looked good. The action in the movie, the rain fight sequence, the long take climax, the BGM and sound design, it all adds to create a mood. Create a vibe which is so good in this film. Some of the horror and thriller portions are really done well. We already knew from the interviews that the whole forest sequence is shot in the studio, but it never feels like that. It feels like we are in a dense forest, and all of that goes to the technical department. They have done a great job, but what really ruins it is the forced humor, the unnecessary love angle, the dance sequences, which just takes away all the tension and just ruins the mood. And that is such a big disservice to the technical department. Now I definitely like this film way more than Rangi Taranga, and I actually myself watched my review for that film because it was 2 years back, and not to my surprise, I had the similar issues with that film too, where the story, the concept was really good, but the filmmaking was very outdated. The commercial compulsions to add hero movements, to add love angle track, to have a character just to bring humor. I always associate these things to films which doesn't have a good story, so they use all these things to make up for it. But this film had such a good story. It didn't need any of it. Without it, it was good enough. And more so, it is the execution of these things. Now I want to get into some spoiler stuff because I want to talk about some of the twists and turns in the film. So if you have seen the movie, then only continue watching. Now the twists and turns were really good. Some I could predict, but some I couldn't. The film is trying to throw us off throughout the film. And actually the commercial compulsions is a disguise. The film wants us to think this is just a romantic track, this is just a comedy track. But we later find out in the end that there's a meaning behind all of it. There's a purpose. But the execution of these things was not done well. And by the end, when we get to know the reason behind it, it's just too late. Because all these things, broke the intensity of the film. My favorite portions in the film were when we were, in the investigation part. Anything apart from that was not working for me. A police inspector is dead, children are kidnapped occasionally and are found dead, but the characters are not behaving as if this is happening around them. They are having fun, they are enjoying their life, they are dancing. So the tension is just lost. Like a family from a city is visiting their village and they want to get their daughter married here, a place where murders are happening around. That makes no sense. The whole Sanju and the father thing, that he scolded him and he ran away when he was a child and now he's come back. Again, that story makes sense at the end, but the way it's executed in the first half is not that great. It feels unnecessary and boring and you don't want to care about it. But by the time it makes sense, it doesn't have that same impact. I wish they had spent more time, building the world, building these characters and giving them depth instead of just having one-tone characters. But that was not the case with Vikrant Rona's character. I really like that he's flawed. His backstory, that he didn't help those kids when they were in danger, and then he became a police inspector and lost his wife and kid, and now he's here to find the truth. That gives a lot of depth to the character. Now at the interval moment, the film tries to do that cheap thing of throwing us off by saying, oh, he's the killer, which really doesn't work well. The whole backstory of the killers works for me. It definitely very rushed and very surface level treatment, but it's still an interesting concept and idea. And I think that's what KGF did, and it stood out. It would have been just one film about this Rocky Bhai hero, that's it. But no, they made it about KGF instead. They built a whole world around it and gave meaning to characters, gave depth to them. I just wish the same could have been applied here. Like the film starts with some kids reading their story and then we never see them back. At the end, it's not like, oh, they finished the story. No, we never see them. We just see the girl writing the story. Now in the ending, we get that one take sequence which had a lot of cuts that I could notice them, but it was a great effort. Now I wish the outcome of the climax was a little different, but I think in a way they are trying to set up a sequel, that the Vikrant Rona character will come back later. And the daughter thing, I actually got to know that she's not real. He's imagining her because there's no point where she's interacting with other characters. So I think that was a giveaway for me. And the cast did a good job. Kiccha Sudeep was in A form. Nirup Bhandari got to do something interesting. See, at the end, I feel disappointed because if the film was just bad, I wouldn't have cared. I would have not even been making this video. But the film could have been so good and it wasn't, and that really pains me. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Until then, you can check out this video. If you like this, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.